everybody, I'm Joey Paul and I'm an indie author and welcome back to my channel. I write young adult fiction across a variety of genres, and if you think that might interest you, then think about subscribing below. I really like doing this series, and if you're interested in catching the others, I will link the playlist up in the cards. I will preface this by saying that I'm not the only chronically ill and or disabled authortuber, and these are only my experiences. Everyone is different, and while this may help some, it might not help others. So with that said, let's talk about editing while chronically ill. It's never been my favourite part of the process, and I am right now in the midst of developmental edits for my upcoming release Invisible. Keep an eye out for the cover reveal in a couple of weeks. So here we go. Number 1. Balance is key. I'll say this, and I know that a lot of people will agree with me. All parts of writing are hard work, and editing is no different. While you may not be working to a deadline, you need to make sure that you're keeping that balance between getting the work done and also having time off, which I will cover more in a moment. Too many times I've seen writers, whether chronically ill and or disabled or abled and healthy, who pile on the work and don't really think about the effect that workload will have on them. You have to remember, as I've said before, being chronically ill and or disabled is doing life on super hard mode, so why make it harder for yourself? When it comes down to it, editing a book to a deadline or not is hard work. You need to make sure that there's some balance there so that you're not pushing yourself to a breaking point. After all, no matter how good your editor is, you are the one that's going to have to be doing the work. You're the one who wrote the book and it's your baby, so while you'll have help from your editor, they won't be able to write the book for you and make the changes that you think it needs. Make sure that when it comes time to sit down and edit, there's a balance there, especially if this is your first or even second or third book, because one thing I have learned is that every single book is different when it comes to editing and revising too, but we'll stick with editing today. Number 2. Taking your time isn't a bad thing. I mentioned that deadline in that most people going through the professional edit are doing it with an idea of when it needs to be turned in, if tradpub or uploaded and the like if indie. There is usually always a deadline built into the editing cycle, but that doesn't mean if it's within your controls that you can't take your time to go through it. That was something that I learned very early on in my career. I wasn't that organised and I didn't really leave much time between the editing cycle and the publishing date. It blew up in my face more than once, not just for health reasons either. Do not be like me. Make sure you don't leave it to the last minute. Either plan your time, or if you have that control, get the book edited before you advertise the release date and put up the pre-order and the like. You will thank yourself later if something happens, like there's a big problem, or you have a run of bad days, or you get sick. It's okay if you take the time. You want this book to be the best it can be, and that might mean delaying things a little. Number 3. Leave gaps for breaks/bad days. Going on from that last point, make sure you have some rest days in there. We all know it wouldn't be a Joey video if I didn't mention resting and self-care. Life as a chronically ill and or disabled person is filled with hiccups. If you're feeling terrible, or you're in a flare, or you get sick, or you just have a run of hospital appointments or the like, you might find it harder to keep up with the schedule that you've set. This is why having some gaps and making it so that it won't be the end of the world if you miss a day is a very good thing. With my editors, I go through the chapters every day that I'm working. I like to leave some days as rest days or breaks just because, as I said, editing is freaking hard work. You want to make sure that you're not going to miss a run of days and then find yourself overwhelmed because you think you'll never catch up in time. This just leads to stress, which, if you're like me, leads to flares, and no one wants that. So when you're working on your schedule and deadline and the like, make sure there's room to breathe, room to rest, room to recover if needed. And don't be skipping that either. Number 4. Work with someone you trust. I have been extremely lucky in that every editor I've worked with has been someone that I completely trust. They are people who were in my life before and also happen to work as editors. They know how my body works, they know that I have brain fog and bad days, and they're willing to work with me. I don't mean that they do all the work for me, but they meet me halfway on those days when I just can't think straight. They allow for those breaks and that downtime and those days when it's better just not to attempt to do corrections than worry about the mess that we made if I'm trying when I'm not feeling well. I've been working with my current team of editors for a number of years and I love working with them. If you're able to find people who understand your needs, your limits, then hold on to them because they are gold dust. And number 5, know your limits. One of the big things to remember is that you're going to be doing this for a long while. It usually takes me about 5 months to completely edit a book. Dev edits take about 3 months because that's the way we only focus on a chapter a day and those extra days to breathe in there. Line edits take about a month because there's usually less of a problem with those, and proof edits take a month, usually less, but again because it's lighter work. I know my limits and know that while some editors can breeze through corrections and the like in less time, it would not work for me. I would get stressed and overwhelmed and it would just all be a giant mess. The way I work has been designed because of my limits, so when you're jumping into the editing cycle, make sure you know your own limits. If you know you work best with a small chunk, then work with someone who's able to give you that. And even if they're not, make sure you apply that working schedule to your own edits. Communicate those limits with your chosen editor and just be kind to yourself. This book will be done, but it needs to be on your own time. So there we go, those are my 5 tips and such when it comes to editing while chronically ill. As I said, I'm in the midst of dev edits for Invisible, which have been going really well. Editing is not my favourite part of the process. It's something that I always struggle with. It makes me stressed and all the rest of it, but it's always a necessary part of the process and something that I just have to get through. So what's one tip you have for editing while chronically ill or while not chronically ill? Let me know in the comments down below. So that's all I got time for today. If you want to support my channel, you can comment, like or subscribe. I post new videos on Thursdays. You can find me all over social media and my books are available everywhere, and you can also sign up for my newsletter. And don't forget to pick up Cramming Chronicles The Second Pang, which is the second in the Young Adult Urban Fantasy series. And also don't forget to grab a ticket for All the City in Birmingham on July 15th, where I'll be signing books. All the links to which are listed below. Thanks for watching, and remember to keep writing. Bye.